Hey everybody, it's Adam Tracy, and wanted to continue on my series regarding starting your own meme coin. And today I wanted to talk about tokenomics, which in my opinion is the most important part, not only from a financial and valuation aspect, but also from a marketing and engagement aspect. So generally speaking, first question when you talk about tokenomics is the max supply. In my opinion, in my experience, make it massive for a meme coin. Massive, like 1 trillion, 1 quadrillion, whatever. And a lot of it's optics, right? You could buy, 100 tokens at $1, it's worth $100. You could buy 10 million at 10 cents, it's worth $100. But conceptually and optically, people like to have more, right? So by creating a vast number of tokens, you appeal to that sense where the token holders are actually getting more, even though they may have invested the same amount of money, albeit they're just buying at a lower price. So number one, you start there. Number two, fair launch, right? And this is a big issue. No pre-mine, nothing like that. It's not worth it. It's going to create downward pressure on the price if you allow it. So just don't do it, okay? Two, airdrops. I think those are sort of a relic of the past. If you're really going to do a meme coin the right way, just pay for the marketing as opposed to trying to like coerce people to do it with token, right? And if you are, never go beyond 5%. And also know that to the extent that you're getting token in people's hands, that's going to create downward pressure at launch because they have the tokens and they're just going to sell, right? So it's really not worth it to the extent that you're going to take this seriously and just invest the money and do it that way. Team allocation, very important here because this is where kind of like the optics of rug pulls come in and out. 5 to 10%, a lot of people will say lock up portions thereof. I think that's obviously going to lend more credence to the legitimacy, but you also aren't doing this for your health, so you kind of have to balance those two, right? But anything beyond 10%, people start looking at it and thinking, well, does it have any staying power beyond just your typical kind of rug pull 2-week flash in the pan? Then we come to liquidity pools. This is huge. At least 50% locked or burned, right? And this is going to be essential for creating an orderly trading market that lasts beyond, a couple of weeks. And when we get to taxes, we can kind of speak to it further. But that's the minimum you want to do, in my opinion. That's the only way to really get the liquidity providers involved and get this thing trading and get it trading in an orderly fashion. What you want to avoid is like the ups and downs, because when something like meme coin, has these spikes, one of those down spikes is going to be viewed as the rug pull or be viewed as like the time to bail and kind of create this bank rush, if you will, where everybody sells and then it's gone. There's no coming back from it. It's not like a share of Tesla where, oh, we had a bad quarter, but next quarter we have a go and everybody comes back in and buys the stock. It doesn't work that way, right? Once it's done, once it's down, it's down. You want to avoid that to the extent possible. So liquidity is a massive part of it. And then for the community, which is ongoing marketing initiatives, things like that, 10 to 20%, you'll never probably use it, but it looks good. Optically, it's there. And if you need it, you can use it, right? And if the token retains value, then you could definitely use it for marketing, enhancing the project, so on and so forth. So beyond that, the other thing you want to consider about is taxes, right? Transaction fees. So typically, I like to keep them around 6%. And the breakdown that I usually suggest is threefold. 3% reflections, right, to token holders, meaning a give back to all token holders based on each transaction. Okay, 3% of each trade. 2% to liquidity, meaning 2% of each trade goes back to the liquidity pool, and 1% burn, right, which lowers the overall number of tokens available. So between those 3, 2, 1, 6%, it will not only facilitate keeping people in the game in the sense that the reflections grant them more tokens, right? They have more of a, inclination or desire to stay in. 2, the liquidity pool continues to enhance itself. And then burn, you're also taking tokens would otherwise be in circulation and taking them out, right? So between those three, and you can mix and match, but you never want to go over 10%. Once you get over 10% or close to 10% in terms of total tax, it's going to be a turnoff because the transaction fees are simply too high, right? 6, 5, around there is pretty standard and fair, and people won't freak out over it. Now, obviously, you can mess with it and say, well, the reflections will be much higher. Then people say, okay, well, I'm getting something for paying a higher amount. But at some point, especially when you're thinking about scalping in different types of trades, it doesn't work, right? So you definitely want to keep it around there, right? And balance it between rewards back to the existing holders together with things that would benefit the overall liquidity and community, which are obviously the liquidity pool and then the burn mechanism. So that's it in a nutshell, right? And there's a million ways to really sort of go about the tokenomics of a meme coin, but the reality is, unlike a true utility token or unlike a publicly traded company, it's more optics than it is economics, right? Like, you want things to look a certain way and create certain economic advantages in terms of like the trading mechanisms and trading floors and things like that. But you also realize that for a true meme coin that doesn't have any utility attached to it, it's only going to be worth as much as somebody's intent to earn by continuing to hold the token, as opposed to using the token to do something. So optics they trump the economics in this case, right? Which is unique for any sort of financial instrument. So tokenomics in meme coins. Hit me up if you have questions. I'll post a follow-up blog with these numbers and stuff like that on my website, adamtracy.io, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.